Hello, I'm Alistair MacDonald from Fab Lab Sunderland, and I'm here to talk about our involvement with the Dragonfly 2020 Challenge. This came out of the 2019 Innovation Festival, one of the sprints, where a sensor was conceived. A sensor that measures pretty much everything if you look at the list. It uses 5G or other technologies to communicate. It's great for sticking out in rural areas. It creates a mesh so you don't need a background network, and is ridiculously cheap. Sounds too good to be true? Well, let's be honest, it probably is. But there's a lot of really good ideas in that, and we were brought in to actually take those ideas, or at least take some of them, and make a prototype, make it real, and learn by doing so. Now, this whole thing was well, a menu, if you like, of things that could never be done. So we all sat down and we worked out what was really important on this project. And what we came up with was 3 key points. Key points in front of me here. Right, the first key point is, do the rapid prototyping techniques, as used by Fab Lab, lend themselves to developing an innovative solution for the water industry? Number 2 is it realistic to develop a viable water sensing product at the desired price? Now, the desired price has varied a bit. Generally, we think it's around a few £100. It would be nice if it was less than £100. It is most definitely less than a few £1,000s. And number 3 is the mesh product capable of being deployed by people who aren't formally trained? Can somebody who's a volunteer go out without doing 2 weeks worth of training, set this thing up and have it work? If you can't be bothered to wait around for the answers, I'll give you them now. The answer is yes, not really, and actually probably. But I will talk more about the whole journey, as it were, and the way we did this. First of all, the innovative, the agile technique, as I like to call it. Now, with most things, there's compromise involved. This project, definitely a lot of compromise. And one of the big things here is the triangle of compromise, the time, the resources, and the deliverables. Now, the time we had was fixed, and it wasn't very much. We had an end of budget coming up. We really wanted to get something ready for this innovation festival, so the time was fixed. Resources were kind of fixed. In fact, worse than that, they kept on disappearing. With the lockdown, we didn't have access to our own facilities for quite a while, and our supply chain is completely broken. Actually, it's only just now coming back to what it was. Deliverables, however, that is the thing that's variable, very variable, in fact. And this is where this approach really helps, because we can deliver something and then we can deliver more. We can deliver as much as we have time for, but if we run out of time, we can still deliver. And that's really useful. And this is actually one of the things where this agile approach does come in. One thing as well, agile does not mean you just jump in without planning. There is a lot of planning going on here. Agile is all about organization and planning. We have an overarching plan. We have sprints where we break down the things into modules, and each of those have their own plan. And at the end of those, we actually sit down and review the rest of the plan and adjust it. So, for example, at the end of our first sprint, we realized that part of our networking approach wasn't working, and we were able to not ruin the whole project, sit down, rework that, and we've delivered. So, how did we break it down? Well, we broke it down into 3 main sections. I won't be able to go into too much detail because I just don't have time. But the key elements are the Dragonfly mesh. This is the networking element. This is the bit which allows each device to talk to the next device, to talk to the next device, which will eventually get the data to the end of the line and back onto the internet so we can look at it and understand it. This means that you don't need to put in infrastructure, expensive sort of networking masts, and have power to all the things to be able to power it all. The second thing was the sensors. Now, we were always going to buy in the sensors. We weren't going to have much time to do innovative stuff there. But there is a certain amount of picking the right sensor, setting it up. Power management, that is a big part of the project as well. And we have really generated a framework in as much as we can plug in different sensors, and with very little extra coding, bring those on board. And then the third section was pulling it all together, creating the enclosure, making it suitable to be actually put out in the field safely and solidly. Right, I will just talk a bit about these individual things. Again, not much time, but I'll tell you about an opportunity later so you can find out more. First is the Dragonfly mesh, and I'm going to be up front. This is exciting to me. I think this is the thing that's really come out of this. And I'm surprised, but there wasn't really anything like it to start with. We have mesh networks all over. Even the Zigbee mesh that turns my lights on and off, that exists and that works well. But it relies on certain things being powered, like the light bulbs, all the time. Most mesh systems do. And we didn't have that. Each thing has to be powered by basically power harvesting, be it solar panel or water flow or something. We need to save money by literally turning the power off when we're not using it. We only turn the power on for the sensors when we sense. We only turn the power on with the radio gear every so often when we need to send and receive. And that's the clever bit. That's where we've done the clever thing, is when we've got them all syncing up, and they all know as soon as they're connected how long they sleep for and when they can turn on and when the other things will be listening, and they'll be able to, when things go wrong, work out when other sensors are available that they can talk to instead. We ran into a few issues along the way, one of which we were using various protocols that well, they just weren't working for us. We were using 802.11 based stuff, Wi-Fi, not the Wi-Fi find around us, and that didn't work. We'd have got it to work, but it would have taken months that we didn't have. So we used somebody else who'd done something similar. We use ESP now. It is a closed protocol which is available for the microcontroller we're using, and when we built this thing, we can now take that technology, backport it to a different kind of thing, or stick with it. It's low cost. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, the other exciting thing about this is we can retrofit it onto older technology. So if you've already got a sensor in the field, we can bolt it on there. If you've got an expensive thing you want to use, we can bolt it onto that. Right, sensors. I am running out of time, so I'm going to skim through this very quickly. Sensors, we have just bought in stuff. Eventually we tested it on temperature, because everything kind of needs temperature. We're measuring pressure. We could use this to approximate flow and depth and stuff, and turbidity. And we've gone for low-cost sensors. Now, I do see that has made this product something for the amateur. And that's fine. It still has a place in the professional world, and I am not saying we are, for no money at all, going to be able to replace something for thousands of pounds. We are going to be able to bring the price down. We are not going to be able to do that. That is a thing that's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, but you get what you pay for it to a certain extent. But if you don't need all that, then this can deliver. Again, no time. I can talk about this for hours. And putting it all together, well, actually, to be honest, we're pre-recording this and we're still doing that now. But if you would like to find out more about this, or actually see more about this, we're going to be part of the expo at the Innovation Festival. So if you're watching this before then, on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe, check the schedule, be able to get online, ask questions directly, and we'll be able to show you some of the stuff we've been doing, and talk about it more, and answer more direct questions. If you are watching this afterwards, then please also get in contact. You can find me through fablabsunderland.org. If you'd like to find out more about anything, just get in contact. I'm quite happy to talk about it, connect up, and maybe we can talk about how we can take things further. We'll hopefully be putting out a trial after this, so keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll see what the future brings. Oh, also, I should say that we're also going to try and open source as much as this we can. We're not going to keep this quiet. If there's something that we think we've made something on, and we're not going to be able to do anything with it, we're putting it out there so you can actually work with it as well. Okay, thank you for watching.